Hello, hello, hello. It's a Friday night. Welcome to the Rehash. It's me, your host, Tooky Kavanagh. I'm here in my house on a very snowy April evening, serving you some Ariana Grande teas with the ponytail. Hello and welcome. And oh my gosh, I'm so hashtag verified Tookie. Thank you. Yeah, it's here. Oh my gosh, Kristen. This is exciting. Kristen Aldrich is in the chat. This is great. Okay. Welcome to the show. I'm rambling. Let's bring in my co-host David. David!
Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. It did snow up there.
Yeah, it did.
Look at that. I am so jealous.
Are you? Really?
I really am. I love the snow. I love it.
Oh, okay. We should chat. We should chat.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! All right. Everybody who we love is trickling into the chat. Lav is in the chat. Rachel's in the chat. Oh my gosh! It is.
What a crew!
I believe it's a lit Friday.
I would agree. Yes.
Biff Wellington is in the chat.
You don't have to love the snow in April, Javad. I assure you I do. As someone who lived in Kodiak, Alaska, and has never shut up about it, yes.
You live there on purpose?
Yes. Well, I guess. Sort of.
Fair.
Yeah. You know.
All right.
Yeah.
Shall we get started with the show?
We have a great show tonight.
We really do.
Mm-hmm.
We really, really do. Let's bring in our first guest for the evening, the intellectual homosexual himself. Lucas Brooks, everybody.
Hi, y'all.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh my gosh, of course. Oh, are you ready to help us with a little conundrum?
I think I am. I obviously have no idea what I'm doing, and you set me up that way, and that makes me so excited. Please bring it on.
All right. Well, it's going to be a time. This is, I guess this is like season 3 of the show, basically, right? So this is our brand new opening segment called "Should This Person Be Rapping?" David is going to read you David's going to read you a couple lyrics, and you will tell us in the audience if this person should be rapping. David, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, this is a new segment from Diana Liu, new Rehash correspondent. Yes. And Lucas, you and I are about to go through this together, okay?
Okay.
All right, start off. Intro, I hate the internet. Me too. Then it goes into, got a new plug. My other guy sucks. Barely got a buzz off $25. Dropped 200. I got too much. And I got too fried. I'm sunny side up. Got your dad doing blow off my ass. Got your mom try and suck on my nuts. Don't tell me money don't buy happiness when it so happened that money buy drugs. Lucas, should I keep going? How you doing?
I think that's plenty.
Should this person be rapping?
Wait, so what are the standards here? Is it in terms of whether the lyrics are quality or what the content is, or like
just in here?
Because whoever this is lost me at the part about mom sucking on nuts. That's just a violation.
Yeah.
With so much disrespect, I'm not here for it.
Yeah. What do you feel in here?
Dave's delivery was not bad considering the quality of the art that he was expressing. It sounds like there's potential for good delivery on the artist's part, but I can't really respect the content of the rap.
Okay. That's fair.
So I would say, please don't rap to this person.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a few more lines and ask you another question, okay?
Okay.
Therefore, by the transitive property, when I'm fucked up, don't talk to me. I feel like it's a bunch of little bugs on top of me. Help me, I can't get them off of me. I can't move, I'm stuck in a sofa, then stuck in a room where the walls get close. Next time you try fucking me over, I'll put you in a bath with a plugged-in toast. It's too late, no one can stop me. Hey, Siri. Lucas, is this person white?
Yes.
Siri heard that too.
That was literally the first thought I had after the first one. This is a white person.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh,
Am I correct? Do I get to find out yet?
Let's see a photo if we have a photo to pull up. Yeah.
Yep.
Cal Scribby.
That fit my expectations perfectly based on the lyrics. So I in a sense, I won that round.
Yes, you win. You win. You win.
He looks like the guy from NCIS. He looks like the guy from like the National Lampoon movies.
Oh no!
Look at that.
I don't want it.
Oh man,
I don't want. You win. Our love and affection.
I'll take it.
Thank you for suffering through that.
Thanks.
Tell the folks where they can find you on these internet streets and what you're up to. All sorts of things. Plug your stuff.
Yeah. So as you can see in my little corner over here, you can find me on Twitch and Instagram at Intellectual Homosexual. You can find me on Twitter and almost everything else at Intellect Homo, because too many letters. I just started a podcast. Tooky was one of my latest guests, called Suggestive Language. You can watch it live Monday nights on Twitch, and then download it the following week on almost every podcast platform. I say almost because Apple is giving me a hard time. But otherwise, that's my shit.
Yay.
Great. Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you so much
Thank
again
you.
for joining us. And I'm sorry.
You know I love it.
Thanks, Lucas.
Thank you so much, Lucas Brooks. Yes, follow him everywhere at Intellectual Homosexual. He makes really great content. Highly recommend listening to Suggestive Language, not just because yours truly was on it, but
yeah, absolutely.
It's a good time. It's a very good time.
I like to imagine the viewers the production meeting for these segments was really, David, it's really great torturing you every week, but how can I do that to other people?
No.
And that was actually, I got positive feedback on my rap reading there. The last time I did it, Nick Chambers laughed in my face. So
it was out of affection.
Sure, yeah, it was.
Oh, TVID is in the chat. I love it. I love
Hey,
it.
TV.
Shall we get into the B5W?
Let's do that.
All right. This week's B5W, which David is barely recovering from, is The Happy Time Murders on Netflix right now, starring Melissa McCarthy and the broken dreams of Brian Henson, son of the fabled Jim Henson. And
wait, really?
Yeah, Jim Henson didn't die for this shit, but here we are.
Oh no.
And they legally cannot use the word Muppet in this movie because Disney owns that term.
Oh, boy. you know, Adi, that really would be great. It's just, this seems like, how like so many podcasts start because the most average white dudes are sitting around and they're like, man, we are hilarious. Everyone's got to hear this shit. And I can't help but imagine that's sort of how this thing got started. I mean, the cast is so great, but the second the camera stops rolling, they were so glad to be there. I bet it was a ton of fun to film.
The set, because they showed some behind the scenes bloopers at the end.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the set looked like it would have been a blast.
Yeah. You got Melissa McCarthy there. You got Maya Rudolph, Amy Poehler really, really quick. Elizabeth Banks. I mean, a really fun crew, Joel McHale. And I don't know, man. It's just there's been a clear wave here of my reactions to the movies you've had me watch, and I know you have a dive on this, so I'll keep it rather short. And also, our esteemed guest also tortured herself in watching
I told you.
You always do that, and then I berate our guests and I say you have to watch it with me. When we first started to rehash, my response after watching movies was anger. It was excited, insurmountable anger.
Yeah.
Followed by crushing depression.
Yeah.
And then for a long time, I've been climbing here. We were on a great trend.
We really were.
We did Josie and the Pussycats. We did Baps.
Mhm.
We did something else I enjoyed that I can't remember.
We've had a good string.
Yeah. Even Soul Plane was forgivable.
Yeah.
Sort of, to me.
Sort of.
And then this comes along and fuck, man. Like, sometimes you just see a puppet jizz for 45 minutes and oh man, I just need to lay down,
Yeah. Did I Care a Lot make it somehow?
No, I Care a Lot was good.
Yeah.
That it was. I feel like I don't really remember that movie. I'll be honest.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's just like this is the kind of movie where you watch it and you feel like 4 birthdays have happened. Like cut to another angle and you see the sun rise and set 600 times as you're watching it.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Yeah. It's rough. It's rough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Shall I get into the dive? Which
yeah,
there is a lesson that one can extract from this mess.
Let's do it.
Shall I? Okay. Dive time. It's my whole head on the screen. Here we go. So are we ready, chat? Yeah, I think the chat's ready. Cool. So the Happy Time Murders is bad. Real bad. Look at this. This is bad. But within the film is an underlying allegory that portrays the puppets, because we can't legally say Muppets, as an impoverished and subjugated class who are systematically denied access to wealth and social mobility. Deep. The story takes place in LA, and you'd think something as awful as segregation wouldn't or couldn't exist in a city like LA, which, even though it's south of, but mostly west of the Mason-Dixon line, has throughout modern American history been portrayed as liberal and devoid of slavery or racism. Spoiler, that's not exactly true. But in fact, for a very large portion of the 20th century, there existed a so-called Jim Crow of the North. Well, what is Jim Crow? Because, I swear they don't teach you this in school. Because we love formal definitions here on the Rehash. Jim Crow, named after a 19th century blackface minstrel character that mocked and dehumanized slaves. Don't look it up. You don't need it in your search history. The image, that is. It's the former state-sanctioned practice of legally segregating Black people from the wider white population. A Jim Crow is also an old-timey term for a crowbar, but we're only here to discuss the tools of oppression. But Jim Crow was sort of the mutated cousin of Black codes. Black codes themselves were these insane vagrancy laws designed to limit the freedom and movement of Black Americans and ensure their availability as a cheap labor force after slavery was abolished. Basically, a way to feed bodies into the convict leasing program established in the 13th Amendment. The 13th is available for free on YouTube to watch right now. And if you haven't already watched it, you should give yourself what we like to call here a strongly worded handshake. So, as you can see from this map right here, which, color codes different states and what they were up to at certain points, Jim Crow was on the books and practiced primarily in the South, highlighted in red there, and was enforced on public properties and facilities. The Jim Crow era itself was established around the 1870s during the post-Civil War Reconstruction and was upheld by the Supreme Court case of Plessy versus Ferguson, which set the very false precedent of separate but equal. Spoiler, it wasn't equal. Jim Crow laws were formally abolished in 1965 upon the signing of the Civil Rights Act, because taking 95 years to end a racist practice is American tradition. But within that time span, you had an era of U.S. history known as the Great Migration. The Great Migration was the relocation of more than 6 million Black Americans from the rural South to cities of the North, Midwest, and West, and lasted from about 1916 to 1970. The only real means of income available to Southern Black people was agricultural work, which forced them into the pseudo-slavery sharecropping system. And not only was the work of sharecropping grueling with barely enough left over to feed Black farmers and their families, a boll weevil epidemic in 1898 caused massive crop damage across the South, which left millions of people nearly destitute. With the most pressing matter at hand being the constant threat of violence and lynchings at the hands of the Klan, the lack of economic opportunity in the rural South and Jim Crow were two of the many major contributing factors as to why Black Americans said, fuck all y'all, and headed north. In moving north, men in particular took advantage of the great demand for industrial workers that arose during World War II. And in 1916 in particular, a factory wage in the urban north was typically 3 times more than what Black people could expect to make during the sharecropping era, where working the land in the South was the norm. So let's take a visit to Minneapolis, which is in the news lately because reasons. But it happens to be one of the places in which a large swath of Black Southerners settled after moving. At that time, starting in the 19 teens, Minneapolis, though not a Jim Crow city, began implementing a very covert segregationist practice known as racial covenants. And it's a pretty significant thing in Minneapolis, because due to these covenants in Minneapolis, white homeownership is about 74.25%. Black homeownership is at 24.8%, which is a gap of 50%. And it's the largest in the entire country, especially given that nationwide, the average for Black homeownership is about 41% in most cities. And that's only up 7% in the past decade or so. Racially restrictive covenants, by definition, are contractual agreements that prohibit the purchase, lease, or occupation of a piece of property by a particular group of people, usually African Americans. Emphasis on contractual, because if you were to sell a property like 30 years after the original homeowner who established the covenant bought it to a non-white person, you are both in breach of the contract, and whatever equity you built from owning that home, all the wealth reverts back to the original homeowner or their beneficiaries. It was literally best financial practice to be racist. Racial covenants spoke to white homeowners' fears about the decline in property values, and real estate agencies basically used them as promotional tools to sell homes. And these covenants were no joke. There is wildly racist language written directly into the deeds of millions of houses to this day. Check this out. Okay. This one says, no persons of any race other than the Aryan race shall use or occupy any building or lots. This one says, neither shall said property be transferred or leased to a colored person. And then this next one is, the said premises shall not at any time be sold, conveyed, leased, or sublet, or occupied by any person or persons who are not full bloods of the so-called white or Caucasian race. This language is baked into deeds, with, of course, the unspoken exception of domestic workers who might live on site with families. So how did we get here? Well, under President Franklin, but my dick still worked though, Roosevelt. Quote me on that. President Franklin, but my dick still worked though, Roosevelt. That's literally what he would tell his mistresses. Look it up. The Fair Housing Act of 1934 passed under the New Deal. From there, the Homeowners Loan Corporation was also established under the FHA, which on its surface sounded like it would apply to everyone, but LOL, this is America, and spoiler, no, it didn't. The hope was that if you can establish long-term home ownership with fixed interest rates, you can create pathways to home ownership for all Americans. The FHA underwriting mortgages takes pressure off banks and puts the financial burden directly onto the federal government. But the HOLC created residential security maps that established designations for neighborhoods based on the occupants of those neighborhoods. So the FHA made color-coded maps of neighborhoods around the US. Like, here it is, folks, the infamous practice of redlining. Red equals hazardous or detrimental influences, foreign-born or which includes foreign-born people, low-class white, or Negroes with a capital N. Yellow equals definitely declining, a working-class neighborhood. Blue equals still desirable, so white-collar workers. And green equals the best kind of neighborhood with businessmen residing there. So consistent criteria for a red line were the presence of Black and brown people and immigrants. There was actually a portion of the FHA underwriting manual stating you must refuse to give an area a green line if unless a restrictive covenant is already in place. Redlining and racial covenants valued people rather than the property itself. They equate spatial desirability with racial occupancy. Redlining institutionalized and spread the practice of covenants because it was the government sanctioning it and saying, if you want the best designation for your neighborhood, this is what you have to do. This is how you get favorable returns for your loans. Statistically, Black people were not likely to default on loans or mortgages, at least no more likely than their white counterparts, but living in an area with a red line made it near impossible to buy or refinance a home. No bank in the country would loan to anyone trying to purchase a home in a red area, which meant their only options were to take out loans from predatory lenders and landlords. As a result, landlords abandoned properties, city services and transport dropped, and crime increased, all while white families fled to the newly emerging suburbs. Oh, and don't think Boston is immune. Some bullshit was going down right in our backyard, people. Thanks to the Sasaki Foundation, based in Watertown, Mass., which you should definitely check out at sasakifoundation.org. Research was done to map out the impact of redlining in Boston, particularly in the decades between 1930 and 1950, when the city was in crisis and lost about 100,000 residents, which is a lot. It's a big number back then. So check out this area that describes the city, right? One of the questions here is, are there Black people in the area? Yes, 25%. Okay, don't live there. It's absolutely bonkers. And here's a map that the Sasaki Foundation made that color codes various neighborhoods of the city, right? And I've gone ahead and added the names to distinguish these neighborhoods. If you wouldn't mind blowing it up further for the audience to see. Yeah. So like the next one where the neighborhoods are like named, which are historically Black or immigrant neighborhoods. And look at how blatant this redlining is. It's crazy. Like with the exception of Southie, which is currently being gentrified by white people. I mean, I feel like this map kind of speaks for itself. Look at Roxbury. Look. So the destruction of Black neighborhoods wasn't just a passive affair. There was active disinvestment, like how I mentioned with landlords abandoning properties. But things such as urban renewal and highway construction literally demolished neighborhoods. Traffic is racist, by the way, but that's for another show. So Boston's West End, which is now where the TD Garden and North Station are, because direction is meaningless in Boston, was a very heavily integrated neighborhood of Black, Jewish, and immigrant residents, and the birthplace of Leonard Nimoy. Speck himself. However, in 1953, the Boston Redevelopment Authority bulldozed the shit out of the area, including the New York streets, which you've probably never heard of, but should look up because history is cool, and displaced 2,700 families to make way for 5 luxury buildings with like only 400 total units, to beautify the city. And the folks who were displaced were promised affordable housing and a possible return to their old neighborhood. But how about those Celtics? The fact that this took place in cities all across the country, not just Minneapolis or Boston, meant that if your family rented property that was subsequently redlined, then destroyed to build a freeway, once again, traffic is racist. Unlike those in a green area, you inherit nothing. Redlining was Jim Crow by another name, but far more insidious because even though it only lasted about 30 years, rather than just blatant colored only signs, we're still feeling the long-term effects of the wealth gap it created. In those 30 years, 98% of FHA loans were given to white families only. To date, it's still harder for Black people to get a loan than for white people to get a loan from a bank. And in some cases, Black families have to remove pictures of themselves from their homes and not be present during an appraisal just to get a higher valuation before selling their house. Property values fund schools, so areas with low value houses and low taxes mean worse education and facilities. Housing equals health, and people of color are likelier to live near industrial facilities and in food deserts with crumbling infrastructure and homes with lead paint. Racial profiling can be camouflaged as spatial profiling because living in certain areas means you're more likely to be unnecessarily stopped by police. And don't think people didn't try to take legal measures to stop this BS. The Buchanan v. Worley case of 1917 and Shelley v. Kramer in 1948 both challenged covenant policies. Pretty much each time the SCOTUS found that city ordinances for segregation violated 14th Amendment due process clauses because they were an infringement of contractual freedom, but they restricted private property sales, but only legal statutes were deemed unconstitutional. So like city buildings, municipal kind of stuff, and covenants between private actors were essentially left alone and therefore normalized. In 1968, Congress passed the Fair Housing Act, Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, which outlawed housing discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. And in 1988, it was expanded to prohibit discrimination based on familial status, so like presence of children or disability. And the Supreme Court ruled against racially restrictive covenants in 1948. But again, they weren't outlawed until the Fair Housing Act of 1968. Covenants are legally unenforceable as of today, but still exist in much of the paperwork of physical property deeds to this very day. And covenanted houses today have an average of 15% higher property value compared to non-covenanted houses in non-covenanted areas. So this is not something that we can undo overnight, but one of the most important first steps is to fully acknowledge the fact that systemic racism is very, very real and deeply infused into multiple aspects of our daily lives here in America. To learn even more about this, particularly in Minneapolis, I highly, highly recommend looking up Mapping Prejudice Project at mappingprejudice.umn.edu, as well as the Sasaki Foundation that I mentioned earlier. Both of these foundations worked on these massive projects, especially the Mapping Prejudice Project, to show like concrete, mapped out physical proof of redlining and the effects that it has had and still has to this day on the wealth gap and racism and wealth inequality. So I highly recommend checking those out, and I highly don't recommend watching the Happy Time Murders. But I hope you learned a little something. A little.
Always do, Tooky. It's amazing how, because obviously we talk a lot in this show about, my position as a straight white male in society and just how much I don't know. Is I did not know redlining was a thing until year and a half, 2 years ago, legitimately. Yeah. And I'm 32, and just like the amount of shit that it just explains. I don't know. It's insane. But big props from the chat from Crawldrich. This is one of the best, most concise yet comprehensive histories of redlining that I may have ever heard. Definitely did not learn this at school. You're a regular professor, Tooky. It's good stuff.
I do it for all of you. I swear.
You sure do.
Here.
You're doing it.
I just want to get the info out there. It's just because, we just.
Yeah. It's what we do at the Rehash.
It's what they're not teaching us.
It isn't at all.
Oh, and Allison King. Brian Henson directed that.
Oh yeah, Brian Henson.
Son of Jim Henson. And like I said earlier, he did not die for Brian's sins. This is not.
Man, what the fuck is with these successful, amazing people and their shit sons?
I still refuse to believe a Chet Hanks came out of Tom Hanks' ball.
Exactly, right?
I refuse.
Dude, you're going to feel like Sean Astin's going to have like Jason Astin, and he's going to suck. And like, I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that was like, insightful.
Very, yes. Thank you, Tooky.
Of course. Well, in the meantime, in between time, let's enjoy a little bit of music and then bring out our guests. So enjoy some jazzy tunes from our house band, Lover's Lounge.
Ooh.
Percocet, Molly Percocet, Percocet, Molly Percocet, represent, gotta represent, chase a check, never chase a bitch. Mask on, F it, mask off. Mask on, F it, mask off. Mask on, F it, mask off. Chase a check, never chase a bitch. Mask on, F it, mask on. Mask off, nah, F it, mask on. Chase a check, never chase a bitch. Rep the set, gotta rep the set.
Lovers Lounge, everybody. Hey, even if you're getting your ouchie ouchie, that's what the kids are calling it,
Mhm.
wearing a mask.
Exactly.
Pretty good.
Man, Lovers Lounge, there is nothing that Lovers Lounge will not broach. Is that the word?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's what it is.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm so excited. So excited to bring out our guest for the evening.
Mhm.
Everyone, please welcome. Oh, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, not only a great comedian and performer, but also a dear friend.
A dear friend.
Yeah.
Dear friend of the show, Shiyan, everybody.
Hi, friendship. How's it going?
Hi, Shiyan.
So glad to see you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, I told you not to watch the movie, but you did.
I thought it would be a good thing to do the thing so they could have a full conversation about the film. So I
Mhm.
had my notes. I was ready to take notes. And then
I
just
tried.
about
I
3
tried to
minutes
save
in.
you.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for all the love in the chat. This is
Yes.
my
Ooh.
heart is 3 times bigger, just like little Grinch. Yeah, I watched that movie, and 3.5 minutes in, I was like, "Oh, this is like that Will Smith movie with the orcs, where they just, what if black people, but insert mythical creatures
Yeah.
that don't exist? So, puppets.
This is not what we meant by black girl magic, but here we are.
No.
It's really
Wow.
weird how, like, it's almost like Zootopia had, like, some kind of social commentary, and then all these other movies are like, yeah, we are too. And then, no, there's no point being made here.
I think so. I watch a lot of YouTube,
Uh-huh.
and I don't remember it's unfortunate I don't remember the name of the channel, but I watched an analysis of Bright that basically said the problem was you told us you were going to make this whole new mythical world where orcs and fairies and all this stuff exist.
Mm.
So you would think that if all of those things exist, that like the past should be changed. Like everybody has seen Back to the Future. When he goes to the future and messes stuff up and comes back, it's like, oh, things are different. This action had a butterfly effect. Some people have also seen the Butterfly Effect movie. But in Bright, they were just kind of like, everything has always happened the way it is, but also like orcs and fairies and elves or whatever. And that's kind of
Right.
what this movie did too. And frankly, I don't think this movie was trying to say anything other than we're having a bunch of fun making like bad, like 15-year-old kid jokes and hanging out with our
Yeah.
friends. So not great.
It had real, like, when you and your friends learn curse words for the first time,
Yeah.
and you
Mhm.
just could not
Mhm.
stop. And
It had
like,
real Shion trying to be cool with her friends energy and then being like, oh, I'm just, okay, oh, this is too much.
yeah,
Like, real, like, hanging out behind the bleachers and trying to act hard energy.
yeah, we all try to act hard.
And also, anatomically correct puppet genitals.
I don't
Yeah.
know if that's the case. So, because I watched this with 2 other people in the room. And from the beginning, I was like, well, I'm about to be embarrassed that I'm watching this film. And I indeed was. And if we've all seen Scary Movie, we know that they enjoy a good
Spoofing.
sex joke Yeah, there's a lot of
Mm.
that. It's real funny. Oh, we use a water cannon to like blast someone into a wall. We're so funny. Haha, we're 13.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that was the vibe I got from a particular scene. I watched the movie to the very end where they showed like the bloopers and the like all the
Mm.
puppet people hanging out. We're having so much fun. Like I watched all of that, and they showed the can of like, oh sorry, that was a fun sound of like silly string that they used for that, and they blurred it out because even they knew that they didn't want anyone to be associated probably with this thing that they've done.
Yeah.
And it was just like it struck me at that moment. I was like, this film thinks it's a scary movie. It thinks it's like a parody of something. I hadn't laughed up until that point. I think the first time that I laughed was when Maya Rudolph got to say like a lot of lines in succession, and she got to
Yeah.
act.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like
Maya Rudolph is a gem.
she is a gem, but when she first showed up, she had like 3 things to say, and I was like, oh no, we're
Yeah.
wasting Maya Rudolph. And then later when she's like, they're like, I mean, I guess I'm gonna spoil it because nobody's gonna watch this movie.
Yeah. Who cares?
They're like picking locks and like trying to figure out who done it, and there's a lovely moment where she's like scared and she like reaches over her co-star's shoulder to like peer in, and the woman's like, leave me, like Melissa's like get off of me, I'm trying to get into this room. And like that whole energy was just fun for me and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could talk at length about my good things list.
Yeah.
Not to take up too much time, but it's the soundtrack, Stewart from Mad TV, Maya Rudolph
Stewart, yes.
lines.
It really was, yeah. It really was like with Maya Rudolph and Melissa McCarthy when they were like, just be you. Like that's when like Melissa McCarthy rules so hard that like it was watchable because she was in it. Like I'm saying watching very generously here. It's just like, you know, this was not I had it on in the background, and I don't know, something about her voice. I was just like, I can keep going. You know, I can keep going. But like,
I disagree.
You do? You know, she was phoning it in. What? I'm curious.
I had just watched. What's the movie where she's a super Thunder Force?
Oh, Thunder Force.
Why did you do that?
I don't know what to tell you. I thought it would be a fun thing, and I could just you know, it's been a week. I thought, let me get some ha-has and some hee-hees, and I thought perhaps that movie would provide them. And after about an hour, it did. I just had to wait for the movie to start. TV, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. TV.
Hey. Sometimes people start watching a bad movie and they're like, this is bad, and they stop. And sometimes people start watching a bad movie and they tuck in and they're like, maybe if I just soldier through, I don't know. But regardless, I saw that movie and I was like, oh, I want this to be better. When will it start? And then again, after an hour, it did start. And I was like, fine. I know what this movie is. I'm here for Octavia Spencer and Melissa McCarthy beating things up. This movie, however, I don't think it started. I don't think it had a moment where I was like, yes, it has begun. I think I grimaced a lot.
Yeah.
I had a lot of tiny frowns. Often I watched it with my husband and we would just kind of both look at each other after a terrible line was spoken. So
yeah, the point the point where I knew everything was going to hell late into the film for that point to happen, but it was the homage to Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct.
Oh yeah.
I just like such a very pointless. Like why? There was no. It just
because
there was a lot of that.
It was
right?
a plot device.
It was a plot device.
Yeah. Right. We have to show that. Was it though?
Yes.
We may have lost Shiyan for a second.
I think we broke Shiyan.
I think we broke her internet. Yeah,
we broke her.
She's gonna come back, and in just 10 seconds or 2 seconds, it's just gonna be everything was shitty about this movie. I had this Tooky. It's amazing. The second he walked in that porn shop and the cow was jizzing everywhere, I was like,
oh gosh. Okay, so for me, again, literally, I think I have 3 minutes and 27 seconds is what I have noted on my phone. Because it was at that right? Because it was at that point where they kind of almost overtly said like, puppets are black people. Like they
Yeah.
kind of were like,
Yeah.
Everybody's great with each other. Nobody fights. Why? Because these foolish sock puppet people exist. And I was like, oh, word? Okay, cool. So
Mhm.
this is the class that we oppress.
Mhm.
Not that there were any, I think there's like one black dude in the whole movie. Oh, there was an Asian police person. So they tried to like sprinkle in
You know.
the colors so they could say
Yeah.
like
Oh, fun
we
fact.
had diversity. But
Yeah. The fun fact, the most obviously black puppet is voiced by the guy who used to be Elmo.
is he? Interesting.
The one
He's
who's
also purple. I don't know if you've noticed, but purple is
Yeah.
the color of the blacks.
Oh shit.
Walk into a store and look for like hair products. Go to the beauty supply aisle and just start perusing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess because
I mean, it's the color of royalty, but I don't know if that's why. But regardless,
the
tends to
powers
happen a
that
lot.
be, they just want us to look like a damn grape. I don't know.
It's so weird.
And can we never have a movie again that just fucking glamorizes cops? I'm so fucking sick of it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. Like at the end, like they're almost about to make like maybe some kind of interesting thing with like the daughter of the guy he shot as the villain, and it's like, oh, cool, like somebody has consequences, and then she's like, no, I'm just fucking crazy, and then like,
Yeah.
and then she dies, and then he's like, you know what? I think puppets are going to be okay. It's like, what? If anything, you just painted this puppet as a insane person.
Yeah.
You didn't fix anything.
Not at all. I mean,
No.
they like close the loop on like consequences. They think they don't know if she has children. They don't know like if the cycle will continue. I also enjoyed a point in the movie where because Melissa McCartney gets into a situation in a flashback where she has to have a liver transplant, but oh no, we're only near the puppet hospital.
Oh, yeah.
So she has a puppet liver, and she has a little miniature breakdown situation where she's like, I'm not accepted by either group because am I a puppet? Am I human? I don't fit in. And I'm like, literally up until that point in the movie when she says those words, no one has given her any shade about having puppet parts. No one has treated her oddly or said that she wasn't human enough.
Yeah.
Like you can't just it was giving me very much Glee, like because we told you it was a bad song, now it's bad. Because we told you it's good, now it's good. And I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one wins in this movie. No one wins. On a scale, we usually rate films on a scale of how much white guilt David feels. David?
Oh.
I think I'm gonna have to go to an 8-hour sensitivity training class, which is just 4 viewings of the film Zootopia.
Okay.
Oh.
That's legit. That's
I mean, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Shiyan, I told you not to watch it.
Am I supposed to rate it by the amount of white guilt I feel?
No, just in general.
Okay.
In general. What did you extract?
What did I extract?
Yeah. How would you rate it? Did you extract anything?
Well, it reminded me that I enjoy seeing people that I remember from the past in film. So when I saw Stuart, I legitimately brightened. I was like, oh, he was Stuart in Met TV. What a treat. He only had the 4 lines and they were kind of dumb. But I did enjoy seeing his face. Also, I like music and it had a good soundtrack. That's what I took from it. Outside of that, I'm sure they worked hard and had fun. I don't want to trash the work of people too much, but I want to. I'm just not going to.
That's legit. Again, no one wins. But you know who does win? You at any of the games we can play.
Oh,
during What's Your Deal?
Yay. Let's see if this is, I don't know. I have no preconceived notion of how well I might do in any of these.
Fine.
Yeah,
You're doing amazing. You're doing amazing. You're doing amazing already. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Well, this is the segment of the show called What's Your Deal, where we deal you out a random assortment of numbers and you get to pick them at random at your leisure. What we got today, David?
You 1 through 3 with a special fourth game.
Okay.
All right.
Special
Pick
fourth.
a number.
With 3.
Number 3. Ooh, that's a David game.
Yes, it is. HR, if you could go ahead and pull that up. Shiyan, we had a loose theme this week of red, but as Tooky pointed out, we love specific definitions. Redlining can also mean when you are driving really fast and the speedometer goes into the red. And what does that make me think of? Fast and Furious. What does that make me think of? Heists, which is why we're going to play the heist of the century. Thank you, HR, for bringing that up. So, Shiyan, you're going to draft your heist crew from these options that come up, okay?
Thank you for options, yes.
Absolutely. First up, your mastermind. Are you going to go with Miss Piggy? You're going to go with the general from the auto insurance commercials, or Triumph the insult comic dog?
Oh, man.
And
So
why?
Love Miss Piggy. I had a Miss Piggy fashion book when I was a youth.
Jealous.
I know she gets really like yelly and throwy, but like, is that helpful for a mastermind? I don't know. 'Cause I don't want her to be too hot-headed and like mess things up. But like, the general, he does something on time. I can't recall what his song was. Oh my gosh, MLAV twins. But there's some sort of song in his commercials, and that's all I know of him.
If on time.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Like,
Time.
and he's
Who
a
saves
general.
time? Yeah.
And then I believe that the insult comic dog might be racist, so it's a no for me, dog.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Miss Piggy.
Fair. Miss Piggy she kind of has like I'm actually not super familiar with the Muppets, but she's got like evil genius vibes.
Yeah, she's been the bad guy a couple times, and Kermit's had to like kind of talk her off the ledge, if I recall.
Yeah.
All right. Miss Piggy setting up this heist. Next up, your enforcer. This is the guy who keeps everyone in line. You got Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. You got the big ass King Kong Broadway puppet, and you have Team America.
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna say that puppet can die. It can burn forever. It's terrifying. What? No.
Which one?
The puppet, the
Kong.
Broadway
King Kong.
puppet thing. I am uncomfortable. Team America World Police. I don't think I ever saw that film.
It's a way better puppet sex scene. Spoiler.
Wow.
Yeah, it's way hotter.
All right. However, again, the moment Audrey 2 came up, I was like, yes, we're having singing. We're eating bad guys. Like, let's do it. If you keep him in line, he'll probably follow you. So Audrey 2.
Perfect. Miss Piggy's setting it up. Audrey 2's keeping him in line. Next up,
so far,
your driver. You have Mr. Fox from Fantastic Mr. Fox, the neighborhood trolley from Mr. Rogers, or some random guy that came up when I Googled puppet driver.
Ha!
I thought there was some sort of like cop trend that there would be like a police person in each one or something like that.
Well, I tried to get all puppets, but I ran out of puppets. I know very quick, so we're getting a little.
If you have something from out of the box in the next one, I might scream.
Okay,
I'm gonna say that right now. So Mr. Fox, what do I remember of that movie? It's George Clooney's voice, and he was in Oceans 11 and 12, so he knows what he's doing. He has experience, but he wasn't something making him go like. Was he getting high on something in that movie? I just remember his eyes like being spirals.
He would go like I guess he would get in like fight or flight mode. Like he fought the rat.
He'd be like in a daze or something.
Yeah, he also drove the motorcycle.
Oh.
Okay. The trolley, frankly, too wholesome. I don't want to bring that neighborhood down into any kind of heist business. And some rando can't drive my getaway car, so it's gonna have to go to Mr. Fox.
All right.
All right. Miss Piggy, Audrey 2, and Mr. Fox. Next up. And your hacker. This is the person who's going to hack the mainframe, fix the security. We got Clippy, the annoying guy from, I think, Microsoft Word. Yep. We have Fozzie Bear and some puppet, I don't know, named Hacker T-Dog.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah, Clippy was the original mansplainer.
Yes.
Yes. Would explain all the things. that were obvious.
Yep.
Also, I'm gonna say was only well versed in one application, so not a
Yeah.
worldwide multi-application hacker. I'm gonna say no, thank you.
Mm.
Fozzie, I love you, my dear. I don't see you. I don't see it. And so for that reason, I'm gonna have to go with this unknown character who's
Okay.
literally named Hacker T Dog.
All right.
That's my rationale.
Well done. Every heist crew needs a wild card. So
Yeah.
nice job. That's your heist crew, Shiyan. Well done.
Yeah. Do I get to name them?
Yeah. What's your
Miss
heist crew
Piggy.
name?
Miss Piggy. Oh, I'm just gonna call them the fashionistas because of that book.
We've been hit by the fashionistas.
We're
Yeah.
robbing the Louis store.
Yes.
All right.
Everyone get their drip. I don't know. I don't think I'm using that right. I feel like an old person. Get their, remember when we used to say threads and now we say drip? Like what is language? Very
You
interesting.
do? Oh, okay.
It's mutable indeed. Another number. Pick another number.
Oh, I'm gonna go with 1.
Ooh, that is square up. That's how you, David.
All right, square up.
Do your thing.
This is another mainstay on this show. Shiyan, what's going to happen here? I'm going to give you a bunch of pairs of puppets, and you're going to tell me who would win in a fight if they were to fight each other and why.
Okay.
First up, Yoda versus E.T.
Yoda. I mean, have you seen the movies? He'll kick your butt. I don't believe that E.T. fights. He just points at you. And wasn't he sick that whole movie? Yoda wins. Next.
Next.
All right.
Animal versus Gizmo.
I mean, Gizmo is a fluff ball and he's sweet, and Animal looks like he's going to eat Gizmo. So it's going to be Animal.
R.I.P. Gizmo.
I mean, unless he touches water. If it was one of the other ones, then opposite. But since it's not.
Yeah, I guess this would be dependent on their fighting stage. All right, next up. Alf versus Cousin Skeeter.
I feel like Alf would fight dirty.
Yeah.
He's always trying to eat cats.
Yeah.
Cousin Skeeter is just a boy who's afflicted with puppetitis or whatever. He just looks like a puppet, but he's a normal boy, according to the world of the show. So, sorry, Skeeter. I remember that show. Let me know in the chat if you have seen Cousin Skeeter.
Oh man,
I remember Cousin Skeeter.
Oh, young Megan Good doing her thing when she still had eyebrows.
I love her.
Back in the day.
So good.
Yeah, I remember really liking it. I feel like it was just sort of cut off a bit unceremoniously. Unceremoniously.
I bet we could speculate as to why.
We could.
I don't know the real reason though. Maybe someone hit puberty and it was too much.
Yeah, the director hit puberty. Next up,
I want to do bigger things.
Falcor versus Ludo from Labyrinth.
I feel like Ludo was like a sweetie.
Yeah.
And Falcor was huge, so I feel like Falcor for sure.
Ludo, oh, you're right. Actually,
he was real scared, and he just, he looked scary because he was larger than Jennifer Connelly.
Connelly.
Yeah.
Connellizer. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, easy win for Falcor. Next up, Tucker Carlson versus Chucky.
This is not fair, and I don't like it. I don't know why you do that to me. But Chucky is a serial killer and a murderer, and I would imagine that he would best anyone he fought.
Yes, he would, especially over that sack of shit. All right, next up, Kermit and Pinocchio.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Is this before or after Pinocchio has visited the Wolf Island? What was that? Donkey Island or something?
Oh, the island of mischief boys or something?
Yeah, has he been introduced to the streets yet? Because maybe Pinocchio.
He looks pretty innocent there.
At this stage.
Yeah.
But then would Kermit fight him? I don't know. I'm telling you, they're going to walk out singing or something. Kermit's going to be on Pinocchio's shoulders and they're just going to be having a good time. So it's going to be a draw.
Damn.
That's fair. That's the first draw we've had in Square Up. So
yay!
Pioneer.
Nice. And ending it peacefully. Next up, all right, the Muppets and all versus Sesame Street.
I wonder where Dan Chapman is. He'd probably be very upset with this matchup. I mean, just looking at the images, the image you have provided, there are far more Muppets.
Hmm.
But I know that in the history of Sesame Street, there are far more people
Mm,
or puppets. But I think we have Animal, who already was in a fight. I don't
yeah.
know the name of the two older gentlemen, but they look like
Statler and
they could,
Waldorf.
yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like they'd throw down, or they'd hire people to throw down.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And I feel like there have been like tear down fights in the movies. They were pirates at one point. The Muppets win. Sorry, Sesame Street.
Yeah. The Muppets are they're more seasoned, I think.
Yeah.
They're adults, and Sesame Street people are pre-adolescents.
You heard it here,
Sorry.
folks. Quote Shiyan there. Well done. That was square up.
That is square up. We've got time
Yay.
for one more game, and that is the game which we are legally, contractually obligated to do,
Oh, I know what
or
this
else there
is.
will be a riot in the chat.
There will.
Okay,
There will be violence if we don't do this game.
I don't want there to
Are
be that.
you ready? Are you ready, Shiyan?
I think I am, but we'll see.
Okay. It's time for drum roll, please, David. Is it a cat? Time for Is It a Cat? All right.
I might have I don't know, because I've seen this show, so I might
Yeah.
already know some.
Yes, that's good.
So
Okay.
I don't know.
Tonight,
You have an
Shiyan, you have to
advantage.
tell me if what I name, and it's rapid fire, you know how it goes. You have to tell me if the thing I name is a cat from the musical Cats, a Cheesecake Factory menu item,
Oh boy.
or another name for a redhead. Because the loose
wow.
theme is red. Yeah.
Got it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Ready.
wanted to be a redhead at one point. Whenever I
Didn't
got
you?
extensions, I'd get like when I started being able to use like more colors, I would get the ones that were like brown and then like turned red. I felt very fancy.
Ooh.
It was a fun time.
You must show me a photo. All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Let's go. Hot Nugget,
Food.
Cheesecake Factory.
Yep.
Buster for Jones.
Cat.
That is a cat. Apple Juice,
Redhead.
Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, snap.
Ah.
Scarlet,
Redhead.
redhead. Mungo Jerry,
Oh, cat.
cat. Rum Tum Tugger,
Cat.
cat. Rusty,
Cat.
redhead.
Dang it.
Bill Bailey,
Cat.
cat.
Yep.
Dynamite Shrimp,
Oh, the food.
Cheesecake Factory. Yes. Rumpus,
Cat.
it's a cat.
Mm.
Attention.
Bluey,
Food.
Australian for redhead.
Oh, I almost said it. I was like, why did you give me such a meaningful look?
There's a few tough ones here.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, interesting.
Skimbleshanks,
Oh, cat.
cat. Bikini Martini,
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake Factory. Cherry,
Person with red
redhead. Yes. Crab Cake,
food.
Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
Syllabub,
The movie with the singing and the cats.
cat. Jenny Any Dots,
That's a cat.
that's a cat.
Okay.
Garfield,
A redhead.
a redhead.
That's
Ooh.
a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I should say that, but I don't like it.
All right. El Diablo,
I mean, is that a thing people call redheads? I'm going with redheads. That's my answer.
Cheesecake Factory.
What is that?
It's
Like
a
a terrible
cocktail.
drink? No?
Mhm. Mhm.
Probably.
All right.
I'm glad it's not a thing people call redheads. That's me.
Yeah. Steak Diane,
A Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake Factory.
Okay.
Asparagus,
Is that a cat?
it's a cat.
There you go.
Wellness Salad,
I'm gonna say that is a Cheesecake Factory item.
Cheesecake Factory. Jemima,
Is that a cat?
it's a cat.
Mhm.
Some weird cat names.
Ginger Snap,
Cat.
redhead.
Oh, I was like, there has to be. Is there a ginger cat?
I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
And lastly, Carbuckety.
Cat?
It's a cat.
Yeah.
How do you go from Jemima to Carbuckety to Rum Tum Tugger? What on earth is that?
T.S. Eliot was not okay.
No.
I mean, was it like? Is there documentation where this all came from? All these names?
It's a whole book about jellicle cats. Okay.
They all came from T.S. Eliot's bathroom wall, I think. But you got 20 out of 25, Shiyan. Very well
Yay!
done. That's the record.
Yeah.
I will say I have watched the show before, so that probably taints the win.
Right.
But I do enjoy it.
No, take the W. Take the W.
Okay,
Shiyan,
W.
tell our beloved folks in the chat where they can find you on these internet streets. Plug your stuff, plug your projects, all the things.
Oh yeah. So my name is Strawreen on the internet. You can find me there on Twitter and Instagram. I do a lot of stuff around the 2MB Studios corridors, so you can see me on shows like QAW on Thursdays. You can see me on Sleepover every other Saturday. So just sign up to the Discord, join the newsletter, and figure out what's going on.
Yay. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much again for joining us, staying up
Shiyan.
past your bedtime, hanging
I'm
out,
going to immediately.
watching that wretched movie.
I don't know. If anyone in the chat can tell me like a really good, funny movie that I can see on Netflix, that would be great. Because there's a lot of other stuff on Netflix. And I'd like something that doesn't have Melissa McCartney snorting sugary substances
Yep.
as an allegory for crack. Like what,
Yep.
where, who are we and where are we and why?
Oh boy. We'll figure it out someday.
We'll get there. It's what we do on the Rehash. Thank you so
Okay.
much again for joining.
Thanks for having me. This is so much fun.
Thanks, Shiyan.
Chat, we did it.
We did.
Another Friday night in the books. And of course, we've got the trailer for next week's Bad Film of the Week, B5W.
All right.
Which has a soft spot in our HR manager's heart. I didn't know. But it's an emergency pick. Are you
Oh
ready?
my God.
Yeah. 90s, man. The late 90s, 1999.
Tooky.
Hi.
Tooky. This may have an unintended effect. This might. I have fond memories of this movie.
So does the mystery man who lives in my house who picked it. This is a Trevor pick, so thank him for the. It is an emergency bad film of the week.
Yes.
Because it is on Netflix until April 30th.
Trevor's always looking out for me. We share a love for Mass Effect and
Ass Effect.
We truly do. And you know what? He's coming through here. Granted, I think I saw it when I was 12. But we'll see. It's amazing realizing who all of these people are, because at the time I didn't know who the hell, William
Jeffrey
H. Macy
Rush.
was. Jeffrey Rush.
Eddie Izzard is in this, one of her rare film roles, because she's not in a lot.
Right.
Another Jennifer Lewis, I know.
Wow, Dane Cook. I did know this. Yes.
William H. Macy.
Oh man, Janine Garofalo.
Yeah, the Goody Mob. If you know, you know.
I don't know, but now I do.
Yeah, you'll recognize. You wouldn't have recognized him as a kid, but you'll see CeeLo.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. You know what? I saw this in theaters because I remember. I think I went with my uncle.
Oh, yeah.
And he probably pulled something that I would do now, where he was like, "Oh, it's PG-13, but it's going to be fine." But there's one scene in this I remember that fucking scarred me.
Oh, really?
I don't want to say what it is because it is a spoiler, but
yeah.
So I don't remember much of this, but I remember that.
French director, though, which is indicated by the fact that during one scene they framed up Janine Garofalo next to some mannequin titties. So
okay, that's how you know it's French.
If some titties is present. Yeah.
All right.
That's our bad film of the week for next week. Mystery Men.
Looking forward
on
to
Netflix.
it.
until April 30th. So
All right.
yeah, and come back next week to find out what kind of lesson we extract from that.
Do it to it.
In the meantime, in between time, make sure you check out the 2MB Studios Patreon, patreon.com/2MB Studios. They are on there. They're live. You may be able to request some exclusive tunes from Love's Lounge, but you didn't hear that from me.
Right.
That's all the band leader. But what else? Oh, check out the Discord. We've got some bonus content coming to you in the Discord, thanks to our stream team captain, Emmy Service, who also watched the movie when I told her not to. So you get to see her reaction and not have to sit through the movie yourself. If you're interested,
it's a great highlight reel, that's for sure.
For sure. And until then, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you to everybody who's watching on the replay. We love you. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We're here every Friday night at 10:30 p.m.
Eastern.
What kind of plans you got? None. These are your
whatever.
plans.
None. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love you. Good night.